Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Welcome back to part 2 of collecting my largest bonsai tree, a yew. We had all kinds of rain last night. Rained all night and all morning. And finally the rain has stopped and I can get back to work on the yew tree. My training box has lots of drainage in between the slats of wood, so I don't need to drill holes in the bottom. The tree here is patiently waiting to be planted, so I'll have to mix up some bonsai soil to fill up this pot. I can't wait to get the yew planted, to get it in the training box and be able to rotate it around and get a good look at the tree. So this coming up today in the Bonsai Zone. I'll get out all the supplies for making the soil. Got my perlite and my safety zorb or turfus. I'll be using half perlite and half turfus for this soil mix. I'll start by sifting the turfus. I've got my bin half full of turfus, so I'll switch to sifting perlite now. I finished sifting the perlite, so now I can mix it all up. I just use my hands. All the fine stuff here that I have left over, I'll just add it to garden soil as a soil additive. I won't use it for bonsai, it's too fine. I'll mix the soil up now. My bin here is a little full, so I think I'll have to add some inside the training box and mix it up in there. It's just too hard to mix and just spills over the edges, so I'll do that. I will have to add a little bit of screening in this one corner. The gap looks a little too big and I think the soil will run out the bottom there. So all the rest of the gaps look pretty good. Just that one spot along here where the wood kind of chipped away. So I'll do that. I hope it doesn't come out there too. That's a fairly big gap. It'd be nice to cover the whole bottom, but that's a lot of screen I'd be using. I guess I could. This screen, it's quite fine, but it also keeps insects coming in from the bottom. So it kind of, you know, lets the water out, holds the soil in, but it also keeps insects out. So that's the reason I don't use a coarser screen. And this screen seems to work quite well. It lasts a long, long time. It's not that expensive to buy. So yeah, I've used it for many, many years, and it's always worked well for me. So there, I have my screening in the bottom here now. I'll just arrange it in there nicely. Oh yeah, that's a good fit. That covers all those gaps in the wood. And now I can add some soil in there. I'll start adding my bottom layer of soil in. I'm not going to fill it too deep, just maybe about that much. And then I'll see how the tree fits in here. And then I can put the rest of the soil in. All right. I think I'll just tip some of this soil in here. Be a lot faster than scooping it out. I may have to get more soil. I'm not sure this will even fill this box up. It's really dusty. I'm holding my breath when I do this work. I've got a good layer of soil in the bottom of the pot now. So now it's time to work on the tree, getting those roots all sorted out. I've got everything out, my tools, I've got soil, I've got a pot. I just need a tree, so I'll go get it.
Oh, she's a heavy one.
It's very heavy. I think once I get the soil off it, it'll be a lot better. Oh, didn't get that up there. Okay, so I gotta get this up on the bench. Here I go. There. Oh, that's heavy. It's all that heavy clay in here. I'll use my 3-prong root rake, my larger one, and I've got to remove all this soil so I can see what's happening with the roots. It'll also make this tree a lot lighter. Most of the weight is in this soil here. So once I get this tree potted up, I will be talking about the styling of this tree and yews in general. So one thing, when I was digging this tree up, I was happy there weren't any really large roots. Like, you know, roots this size that I had to cut with a saw. They were all, you know, ones that I could cut with the lopper. So that was good, that it didn't have that, you know, a really coarse root system. And I didn't see any roots that were actively growing. So that's another good thing. I don't think I dug this up too late. I think it's good timing, because I can see some of the shoots are just coming out on the tree now. So that's a good time to repot when you just notice those shoots about to break. And some trees, this happens quite late, like my thujas or my cedars, they come out early June. So it's, you know, you can repot them early June still, and they will repot quite fine. I have to be careful where I touch this trunk because it's back budding all over the trunk, and I don't want to rub those off because I don't know what branches I want to keep yet and which ones I can remove. So I'm kind of being cautious. Oh, there's a big worm. I'll put him in the garden right over here. Probably the one and only time that worm will ever fly in its life. Now, yew trees don't have a really thick bark. It's quite thin and papery, so even on the roots I have to be careful when I'm raking that I don't ruin the bark that's on the outside of the roots. Now I'll try and turn the tree around and start working on the other side. So you can see all these fine fibrous roots. There's no new growth on them yet, so the tree was still dormant. So that's really good to dig it up when it's dormant like that, just before bud break. I don't have a lot of big bonsai in my collection because they're, you know, difficult to work on. They're heavy, they're hard to move. They can look fantastic, I mean, but yeah, they're just, you know, makes everything difficult. And I try and get that same large tree look in my smaller trees. Lots of worms in the soil, so that's always a good sign that it's a, you know, nice rich soil that the tree grew in. The tree did grow really well. I mean, it just started off as a little tree in a like a 1-gallon pot. One of those ones you buy at like a big box store or something. And it grew really well on the ground. I've had ones in the front garden that were, you know, started off the same size as this one in a 1-gallon pot, and they're not near this size. So I'm kind of getting down to the root base. There's a lot of kind of roots coming off high up here, but I think the true root base will be down lower, down here somewhere. It's very dark outside now. I think maybe the rain is coming back. It was supposed to rain all day, so I'm just lucky that I'm able to do anything today. So I'm thinking this is probably the root plane down here, and this will all be trunk. So all these roots on this side that are up high may have to be removed. I'll have to see what's below these roots first to make sure I'm not removing all the roots on this side. But that's my gut feeling, is that I'm going to get a little more trunk than the tree was planted. If it did rain today, it would help me wash all the soil off the roots, that's for sure. I think the tree is going to be a lot easier to lift after I get all this clay type soil off it. I've got most of the soil removed from the roots now. So the next step, I'm going to take the tree over and wash the roots and clean up my bench. and then I'll start the root pruning. So here I go. So I'm going to wash the roots now. I've just got my watering can here and I'll do what I can with it. I don't have to get them perfectly clean, but I do want to be able to see what exactly is going on in there. I'm going to have to get out, I think I'll have to get out a brush and clean that off. There's a worm in here I got to get out. Another worm. Got him. So I can probably get a lot of the soil removed with my fingers, just probing in here and scraping all the mud off, and won't hurt the roots at all, that's for sure. Better than a root rake. Bit of a dirty job, but you know, once I get all this old soil off, it'll just be bonsai soil from then on, and I won't have to worry about it. Yeah, this is working quite well with my hands. It's actually kind of fun too, playing in the mud. Got some nice stuff happening at the root base here. Really, really liking the tree. So far, anyway. I'm always amazed when you get all the soil removed from a tree, how light some of them actually are. Like spruces and some of the pine trees, the softwood lumber. They don't weigh much. It's like, it's just all the soil and the pot and everything that adds up. But yeah, they can be amazingly light to lift just the tree by itself when it's bare rooted. Now yews are they're good at generating roots. So I'm hoping that's true for this tree, that it recovers quickly from any work I do today on it. You never know with a collected tree, but I'll give it the best care I can, and that's all you can do. Most of the time they make it, but you know, you're going to get the odd one that no matter what you do, it just not going to happen. And it's disappointing, but you either learn that maybe that wasn't a good tree to collect in the first place, or you learn how to take care of them better, or you know, just misfortune. Sometimes it's the weather and insects and who knows. You can't control everything. It's a bit of luck involved, is I guess what I'm saying sometimes. The tree will be quite light, I think, when I'm all done. I can almost lift it with one hand now. There's something that isn't even part of the tree. It's some other root from another tree. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of roots that went straight down. There's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or so roots that went straight down that I had to cut, and they weren't that thick. The reason I like to get all the old soil off is that it's a different, it's different than the bonsai soil. You water according to the bonsai soil, but if you have this clay type soil in around the roots and you're watering for the bonsai soil, which is likely drying out every day, this clay type soil that's in around the roots just stays wet all the time, and it could lead to problems with your roots rotting, you know, over watering it, and just, yeah, it just holds moisture around the roots, and you can get problems with probably insects, and you know, just the general health of the tree will suffer. Whereas if you have a nice consistent bonsai soil all the way around your roots, then you know when your soil dries out, it's drying out evenly all around the root base, and you don't get these wet spots of a different type of soil, if that makes sense. Well, that is getting pretty good in here. getting a lot of this field soil out, or backyard soil. I'll rotate the tree around again. And have a further inspection and clean on this side. But it is getting pretty good in here. Oh, there's another patch of mud I found. Okay, I think that's about it. I may find some more cavities of mud as I'm root pruning, but I'd say I have most of it out. There's kind of some double root systems here that it's hard to get my fingers into. Okay, let's get the tree back on the bench. I'll just give it a final rinse off. Okay, I'm taking the tree back to the bench now. And I can lift it with one hand now. Amazing. The first thing I want to do is establish my root plane, or where my soil level will be. And I have, some roots really high here, and then I have some that are really low. So I've got to find that point, that line where everything above I prune off, all the roots, and everything below I keep. So I'll have to walk around the tree. I'm thinking somewhere here is a good root plane, or slightly below. So yeah, some of these will have to be removed for sure, and I may have to use the saw to get these off. They're quite thick. I think the front of the tree will be this side. The trunks kind of on this direction, they kind of curve away from you, so I would rather them, slightly coming towards you. So I'm going to turn the tree around. So this is the thickest trunk, so it would probably come forward, and this one would be slightly behind. So probably the front would be somewhere about here. Here's a shot of the tree now from possibly the front. I'm not 100% sure yet, but this would be a general kind of good front to the tree. So yeah, I think my root plane, you can see it goes quite deep here, and it's quite high on this side. So it may mean I need to tilt the tree more like that to keep that root plane level. I think that's probably how it was planted, I think. So this root will have to be removed, and this one, and some of those bottom ones. So I'll start on that now. I'll start with this root here. It's just way too high, and I'm going to do a flush cut. Yews don't really heal over very quickly. The scars will take years and years to heal, but it's just a point of interest on the tree. It doesn't. There we go. Yeah, so there's a cut. I'll take this one off next. Okay, off comes this one now. Again, a flush cut. Almost off. There I go. So there's a couple of those high roots off. It's looking much better. Nice flowing trunk down into the root base. That one will have to go. If I can get it open. There. There's a Japanese saw. I can use this one. It's designed for flush cuts. It's a very flexible blade. I got it at Lee Valley Tools. It wasn't very much money either. There. Nice flush cut there. Yeah, it's quite a flexible blade. Flush cutting saw, single edge. Made in Japan. Okay, so there's a root really high here coming off the trunk. Well, that's got to go. So again, I'll use my flush cut saw. Like that. And I'll just go around. There's a few roots right here. I just got to remove. Just little fine ones. Don't want those. So I'll keep rotating the tree around, looking for roots that are out of the root plane. There's some back here, for sure. Right here. Might have to get this top one first. There. And this one. That one's gone too. And then there's a really fine one here. I don't want that one. I think I should prune some of these roots off the bottom, just so it sits a little flatter on the table here, at the right angle. So I've got to look at that planting angle again. It was going to be somewhere about there. So this part, these roots are horizontal with these ones. We'll just get rid of some of these surface roots here, sticking up. Yeah, lots of work to do in these roots. Just get rid of this. There, this one here, sticking up. So you can see that nice flowing root base. That's what we want. So that's the planting angle. I'm going to turn the tree on its side and get to those roots. So here's all those roots on the bottom. And again, I'll have to, maybe I can use the loppers on these actually. I'll get the loppers. So I'm just rough cutting some of these roots that are going straight down. Trying to get my root system a little shallower. And I'm watching the root plane, so I'm there. I can get here like that. This one can come off here. This one here. So these are fairly small roots I'm just taking off, just to get the root plane flatter. And it helps develop those radial surface roots instead of these roots that grow straight down, which you don't want to develop. And this one here, like that. There's a lot of root mass in here. I don't think it'll be a problem me pruning these roots like this. We'll find out eventually anyway. Now there's one that's got to come off right here, like that, here, and here, and here. Looking much flatter. There's a root on the bottom I have to take off, but it's sitting on that root right now, so I'll have to rotate the tree around a bit. Oh. Poor tree. Okay, that was this root right here. This one will be pruned off there. This one's sticking up. I want that one. Yeah, this one needs a bit of pruning here. Like that. So I still have to saw this one off here. It's sticking down. Another one here. Another one here. Like that. So hopefully I can get in there with the saw now. Yeah, I can get most of it off. I think that'll do. There. That gets that pretty good. So now let's see how the tree sits on its new flat root base. Get all these roots out of the way here. And You see? That's much better. I'll rotate it around to our possible front. Was it there? No. That wasn't it. It was this way. Yeah. Up there. So I'll give you a look at the possible front of the tree. So there's the root base. And I'll pan up so you can see the trunks and the branches up top. There's a look at the overall shape of the tree. Yeah, it looks quite nice. It looks very natural. Nice flowing trunk lines. It's got some good things happening. My next step will be to test fit the root base and the tree into the pot and see how it fits. All right, here I go. Almost. There's just a few roots that are a little long to fit the tree in the pot, so I'll have to do a little bit of root pruning with the loppers and get it all to fit. So I'll do my horizontal cuts here, like that. I'll prune all these small roots away first, and then the ones that are holding the tree up will get pruned last. So this one, I could prune this one back a bit. That's better. I don't like this one. Okay, I'll test fit it again in the pot. Yeah, that fits in quite nicely. Okay, good. I'll have to pile up a mound of soil in the middle of the box here and then kind of wiggle the tree to get it at the right height. Okay, I'll pour my mound of soil in here. I'll take a deep breath because I think this will be dusty. So here I go. Now I can place the tree in the pot and hopefully adjust it to the right height. If it's too low, I'll have to take it out and add more soil. All right, here I go. I have to rotate it around more. The front is here, about there. It's not a bad height in the box. It's a little low. I could raise it a bit more. I kind of want the surface of the roots to be almost flush with the lip of the pot here. Yeah, I could raise it just a little more, I think. I can see by the amount of soil I need to fill this tree in. It's quite a bit, and I don't have a whole lot of soil left, so I'll use what I can around the tree, but I think I'll have to mix up more soil. I'll put what soil I have left in around the tree. The tree is almost planted, but I'll have to mix up some more soil and finish leveling it off. I've got a new batch of soil mixed up, so now I can top up the pot. Okay, so here I go. I'm just checking the front view of the tree. I rotated it slightly to bring the trunks closer together, and I think that looks better. It makes the whole tree a little more compact, not so spreading. Well, the tree is finally planted. It's looking good, and I can give it a watering. All right, here I go with the water. Clean off the trunk here. It'll take a lot of water to soak this soil. Now that the surface of the soil is wet, I'm switching to a big watering can because a big tree needs a big watering can. So here I go. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. I'll run one more watering can through the entire pot to make sure it's all fully soaked. Okay, here goes more. So here's the back of the tree. It's got one root that's kind of high here, but I didn't want to get rid of it because it's not a bad looking root. So that'll just become a feature in future. Yeah, so that's the back of the tree. Come around to the side here. Yeah. There is some new growth pushing out on it. You can see it right here. That's brand new growth for this year. But that's the only bit I see that's growing so far. Some shoots coming off the trunk here, the branch. So it's just starting to wake up, this tree. That's all the work I'll be doing on my yew tree today, but that's not the end of the series. In part 3, I'll be discussing the styling of yews, looking at some ancient old yew trees, and getting ideas for, you know, the future styling of this tree. My largest bonsai to date is now planted. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me today in the Bonsai Zone.